Hi, football fans. It's PennLive's Aaron Carr alongside Eric Epler. We got the Battle of the Bands over here in the end zone. Just put the wraps on the PIAA Class A championship. Jeannette beats Homer Center 42-12. Robert Poogie Kennedy stole the show here today.
Poogie had some serious Poogonomics and racked up a whole bunch of yards in this game. He counted for 4 touchdowns in the first half. They jumped out to a 23-6 lead at halftime. It was interesting because the first drive for Jeannette, it went right down the field, had a couple big plays. Poogie was involved in a bunch of those. But they had to settle for a field goal, 24-yard field goal by Trey Cunningham. And then Homer Center got what they did. You know, they took it right down the field, scored, make it 6-3. There were a couple penalties. Yeah. All told in this football game, they still won 42-12. They had 15 penalties for Jeannette in this game, and they still won 42-14. But anyway, Homer said he had a great drive to open it, counted, they did 6-3. And then I thought the difference there was just where you said to yourself, the speed's going to be a problem for Homer Center, was the ensuing drive after that. And again, Poogie was involved. They had a couple nice pass completions, converted a couple long down and distances on their drive, and there just was separation between their wideouts and Homer Center's defensive backs that you knew if the wind was going to stay down a little bit that they were going to have a serious problem, and they did in this one. So yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know if you're Homer Center, how you would have defended the guys. We talked earlier about them, you know, sort of deploying Kennedy in multiple positions.
Which they did.
I mean, he played quarterback, he played wide receiver, he returned kicks in this one. He played a little bit of running back. He lines up in a wildcat. You're not sure if he's going to throw or pass. I mean, he's a really, really dangerous guy to have on the field. And Homer Center really had no options. You know, when they got behind, they were forced to throw, and that's not their MO at all.
On that first drive that Homer Center scored, Jesse Lee, the 7-yard touchdown run to put the Wildcats up 6-3. Jalen Jones, one of the defensive captains for Jeannette, told me they have a saying on Jeannette: one is too many.
One is too many.
One is too many. Well, the Wildcats got their one out of the way on their first drive. That was 6-3. They didn't score again until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So as much as we want to sing Kennedy's praises, boy, this defense came to play today.
The defense was phenomenal, and you know, we thought in that first drive for Homer Center, we were talking about, you know, they got strung out a little bit, and Homer Center was able to kind of not only beat them in between the tackles a little bit, but maybe get a few edges, and that was sort of surprising. But then, you're right, after that point, after they went back up 9-6, I think it was, they tried a 2-point conversion, went back down 9-6. It was like they turned on a different gear. You know, Homer Center really did absolutely nothing. I mean, I think at one point 3 of their drives culminated in like 4 net yards in 3 straight drives in that second half. And that's all defense, man. Ian Smith was great in this game. You mentioned Jones. A couple of the guys, Marcus Barnes had a pickoff and an interception in this game. And you could just slowly feel the energy. What was left from Homer Center, the energy coming out of them and the energy coming out of the crowd. The Homer Center probably brought, I don't know, 2,000, 2,500 people here. The home stands were pretty filled. So
it was all of Indiana County.
All of Indiana County
was here today.
Yes. No one got gas in Indiana County today, except early in the morning. Right. They traveled here. But it was deflating to see how Homer Center, knowing they knocked off Guilfoyle, knowing they knocked off Steel High. But you know, those are the type of games too that drain you really bad. And it's all a matter of how do you come back, how healthy are you, and you could just see the energy. And the speed of Jeannette was the big reason. It was all about speed.
Now I thought the fact that Homer Center grounded Steel High 20-14 in that semifinal, I thought maybe, okay, they've got a blueprint to maybe combat the speed. Now, like you said, they certainly were ready for Steel High speed.
Yeah.
Today, I'm not sure they were ready for Kennedy Company. I mean, there were a few times where he escaped the rush. He was flushed out of the pocket to his right, threw across the field to his left for big plays. They had a couple 40-yard pickups in the first half to lead to some scoring drives. I mean, it's the state finals, and they were able to put the mercy rule on in that second half.
And Yeah, Homer Center sort of too, especially their defensive backfield, we're sort of getting sucked up, like to try to, I guess, help with run support. But all that time, Jeannette's got those minion guys out front, outside that'll just run by. I mean, there were a couple hookups for long gains that the defensive back was 5 yards away from the ball. So, the speed difference for me, I think, was probably night and day from even Steel High. And Steel High's not slow.
Right.
So that just gives you an indication of how good and how fast this Jeannette team is. And there's 7 or 8 playmakers that you have to account for. And when you're down a few points and you still have to account for those guys, it just makes it doubly tough. So, yeah, I almost felt bad for Homer Center because, like you said, you could see them sort of wilting away slowly. And there was no way Jeannette was going to let their foot off the gas,
When it was 6-3, Homer Center in that first quarter, and then Kennedy comes back with the 56-yard touchdown run early in the second. That you don't want to say that the turning point of the game was like early in the second quarter. It's kind of odd to say, but really they went on a tear to close the half. I think it was 23-6 at the half. Kennedy had 3 touchdowns in that second quarter. He ran for 2, threw for another one. He just made some just incredible throws today. The TD to Cunningham in the corner over here. Yep. Incredible. He's 50 combined touchdowns coming into this game. Mm-hmm. Over 1,000 yards through the air, 1,000 yards on the ground. He obviously was the guy to watch for Homer Center's defense. Yep. But boy, his teammates deserve a lot of credit for this one too.
Well, that's the thing. You spend so much time sort of mirroring him, and he's very elusive. He's not just fast. He's very elusive. So the tackling wasn't great for Homer Center, and like I said, as they kept getting further and further behind, it became worse. The tackling just became, trying to grab them with your arms, and that just doesn't work against these guys. I mean, you mentioned Kennedy. I know, we talked about Terrell Pryor being the last guy who led Jeannette, and obviously Terrell was just their quarterback, but he was so elusive, and that's exactly what Kennedy is. I mean, definitely doesn't have the size as Mr. Pryor,
right?
And but he has the speed, and he's got the grit, to play, and so. Hopefully he gets an offer here. He's got a few interests from colleges at a couple different levels, so he'd be a fun guy to watch, especially even if you put him at like a return guy, because he was returning kicks, punts today. He does a little bit of everything.
This would not hurt his college chances. I would imagine.
Think no. This is the one you want to put on the film.
Performance that he had today.
Yeah.
And again, Jeannette wins 42-12 today. It's their first championship since that Terrell Pryor-led team in 2007, that won the Class 2A title.
Right.
So this is their second state crown in program history, first one in 10 years. It's just, Kennedy is going to get a lot of the headlines, but really and Coach Hall kept preaching, this was a team win today. It really felt like a team win today.
When you look at the defense, I mean, you had 11 guys really running the football, and that's what when we previewed this game, that's what Homer Center did really well against Guilfoyle and against Steel High. They get 11 hats on the football. Well, I'll tell you what, now the front line was spectacular, I thought, for Jeannette. But, it was no picnic trying to throw against Jeannette. It was no picnic trying to get the edge against their linebackers. Everybody made plays. This was a huge team win for them. And hats off to Homer Center, first team for Indiana County to make it here. It's deflating. That's a long drive home. It's snowing out there. So it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be a pretty drive home. But they did make it here and knocked off 2 really credible single A teams. So hats off to them. But Jeannette certainly deserved this one.
And again, 42-12, the final. Jeannette over Homer Center in the Class A title game coming up at 7 o'clock. Cathedral Prep takes on Imhotep Charter in the Class 4A game. That's Imhotep Cathedral Prep round 3 here for the Class. For the Class 4A title. That's PennLive will also have coverage of that, so please stick around, and we'll be back with more football coverage.